Hi, and welcome to this tutorial, which will give you an overview about how to use the additional VAT report in VAT services on Amazon. If you have non-Amazon transactions which need to be reported in your VAT filings, or if you have Amazon transactions which are missing some information that is needed to complete your VAT filings, you must complete the additional VAT report and upload it to VAT services on Amazon through Seller Central. The additional VAT report is a template that will allow you to provide all information for these transactions which is needed to complete your VAT filings, to be combined with the details of your Amazon transactions that are contained in the Amazon VAT Transactions Report. The additional VAT report contains all of the details about how certain types of transactions must be reported and the information which you must provide to ensure that your VAT filings are accurate. However, if you are not required to file Intrastat returns in any of your VAT services on Amazon subscribed countries, then you may be able to default certain fields which are not necessary to complete your VAT returns. These will be explained shortly as we work through the template. So you will see that there are now 6 sheets in the additional VAT report. The instructions page, which explains how to use the additional VAT report. The transaction type help page, which provides valuable information about how certain transactions must be reported and the information which is required to complete your VAT filings. The data definitions page, which explains what each field is, whether it is required, and how to complete it. The examples page, which contains examples of different transactions and scenarios to show you the level of information required. The template, where you can provide the details of your non-Amazon transactions or update some of your Amazon transactions for information which is missing or incomplete. So this is what the template will look like when you open the additional VAT report for the first time, unless you have some Amazon transactions which are missing information, but we'll discuss these in more detail later. And finally, the default calculation logic page, which explains how the Calculate VAT tool button on the template works. This will also be discussed in a bit more detail later. So which transaction or fields do I need to report in my additional VAT report? The different types of transactions which can be reported in the additional VAT report include sales, refunds. Now, a refund is a transaction that should be declared when a monetary refund is made without the buyer returning the goods, or if the goods are returned at a later date and declared separately as a return transaction type. You should declare return transactions when refunds for the related goods were declared in the past or will be declared in the future. The transaction is solely for recording the movement of the returned goods. A non-Amazon credit transaction should be declared when you provide a refund and the goods are returned to you by your customer at the same time, so that you can declare both the refund and the return together. Again, if the refund and the return occur separately, or you offer a refund but the goods are not returned to you, it is necessary to declare the refund and, if applicable, the return separately. Stock movements, and you must declare stock movements when you move your goods cross-border throughout the EU between your warehouses. You don't need to declare your EU cross-border stock movements between Amazon fulfillment centers, as these are automatically reported for you in the Amazon VAT Transactions Report. Amazon B2C cancelled transactions. So if a business only provided you with their VAT number after they received your sales invoice, then you need to correct the Amazon B2C sales invoice. This is done by issuing a credit note to the buyer which cancels the original invoice. So these can be provided using the B2C cancelled transaction type. The Amazon B2B corrected transaction type. So again, if a business provides you with their VAT number after they received your invoice, we have already seen that we can use the Amazon B2C cancelled to cancel the initial invoice, and then the new details of the transaction must be reported with your customer's VAT number using the Amazon B2B corrected transaction. You must also declare all purchases that you make in your VAT services on Amazon subscribed countries through the additional VAT report. This includes any purchases of stock, including delivery or freight charges, and any other costs that you might incur. Finally, you can also report import transactions in your additional VAT report. So these are any imports that you make into your VAT services on Amazon subscribed countries from a non-EU country, for example, China or the US. The fields which you are required to complete will depend on the type of transaction which you are reporting. Any fields that are not required for a particular transaction will be blacked out in the template as soon as you have entered the type of transaction that you will be reporting. So you can see here, for example, that the information requirements for a stock movement transaction are different from a sale transaction. This is because certain transactions may appear on different VAT filings, which require different information. There is more information about how to complete each field on the Data Definitions page of the additional VAT report. So what if I do not need to file Intrastat reports in my VAT services on Amazon subscribed countries? Some fields are only relevant for Intrastat reporting, and you may not necessarily be required to submit Intrastat reports because your turnover is below the reporting threshold. If this is the case and you do not have to file Intrastat reports in any of your VAT services on Amazon subscribed countries, then you can populate the fields that you see on screen now with default values. Please note that as soon as you are required to start submitting Intrastat reports in any of your VAT services on Amazon subscribed countries, you cannot populate these fields with default values, and you should instead use the correct transaction details. I am activated for VAT calculation service, but I see Amazon transactions with errors in my additional VAT report. Why is this? If you download your additional VAT report and you notice that it has been pre-populated with Amazon transactions, this is because there is some information missing or incomplete which is necessary to ensure that your VAT filings are accurate. There are several reasons that information may be missing or incomplete, but these that we will go through now are the most common. If you are selling a product or issuing a refund to a customer in a country where you have a VAT registration number, but your VAT registration number in the sale departure country is not configured in VAT calculation service, then this could cause a double taxation scenario because VAT calculation service will calculate VAT on top of the VAT inclusive price. If your customer is also registered for VAT, then you will notice that the transaction will still contain an error and have 0 values. This is because there was no VAT liability in the sale arrival country, but your VAT registration number was not available for the sale departure country. If you have Amazon transactions in your additional VAT report that are missing your VAT registration number in the sale departure country, then you should update the VAT number, departure country, and VAT amount fields that are required to perform the VAT calculation and report the transactions in your VAT filings. These fields will be identified for you in the additional VAT report when you click Validate Template, and we will explain how this button is used later on. Any products that you have assigned the product tax code AGEN-NO-TAX in VAT calculation service are not supported by VAT services on Amazon. Therefore, any transactions using this product tax code are excluded from the Amazon VAT transactions report, which usually contains the details of your Amazon sales and Amazon refunds, and instead they will be pre-populated in the additional VAT report so that you can update the VAT rate and the VAT amount for the product. For more information on why VAT services on Amazon does not support the AGEN-NO-TAX product tax code, please refer to our FAQ document for product tax codes. Please also consult your tax advisor if you wish to report transactions using this product tax code. In case this product tax code was selected by mistake, please correct the transaction by issuing a credit note to cancel the initial transaction and issue a new invoice with the correct VAT rate. I am activated for VAT calculation service, but I see import transactions with errors in my additional VAT report. Why is this? Now, if you are based outside of the EU and you sell goods on Amazon through the merchant fulfillment network, then it is possible that you will fulfill orders directly from your home country. If this is the case, then you may have been required to declare the importation of these orders into the EU and pay the associated import VAT before the delivery of the goods to your customer. To help you identify and report the sales fulfilled through the merchant fulfillment network for which you may have been required to pay import VAT, VAT services on Amazon will pre-populate the additional VAT report with your potential import transactions based on the shipping information of your orders. If these are not relevant or you do not pay import VAT directly to the customs authorities in the EU, then you should exclude these transactions from your additional VAT report. For more information on how to report your import transactions, please refer to our related webinar, which you can find right here on YouTube. What if I do not have all of the information required to report these Amazon transactions? If you do not have all the information required by VAT services on Amazon to accurately report the transactions in your VAT filings for the current period, then you must exclude the transaction from the current period while you investigate what information is missing and how you can obtain this. Only once the missing or incomplete information is available should you upload the transaction as part of your additional VAT report for reporting in your VAT filings by VAT services on Amazon. You should also ensure that you have all of the updated documentation, including VAT invoices and credit notes, in place to support the transaction included in the additional VAT report. For example, if you updated a sale transaction to include your VAT number in the sale departure country, then you may be required to reverse the initial transaction and reissue an updated invoice, which includes your VAT registration number. So what if I am not yet activated for VAT calculation service because I am new to VAT services on Amazon? Why might I see Amazon sales and refunds in my additional VAT report? If you are new to VAT services on Amazon this month and you are not yet activated for VAT calculation service, then you will notice that your additional VAT report has also been pre-populated with all of your Amazon sales and Amazon refunds. These sales and refunds have been populated in your additional VAT report rather than your Amazon VAT transactions report, so that you have an opportunity to review all of the details of these transactions and confirm that the amount of VAT that has been calculated by VAT services on Amazon's new VAT calculation tool is correct. So what if I am not yet activated for VAT calculation service because I am new to VAT services on Amazon? and I see some of my Amazon transactions which have VAT_applied in the seller departure country VAT number field. What might this mean? So that VAT services on Amazon can report transactions which need to be taxed in one of your subscribed countries where you have an existing VAT number, if you have not yet received your VAT number for the departure country of the sale, then VAT services on Amazon will populate the departure country VAT number field with VAT_applied. As you can see here, we have a transaction from the Czech Republic to France, and we've populated the seller depart country VAT number field with CZ_VAT_applied. This allows the transaction to be reported immediately in your VAT filings for subscribed countries where you have an existing VAT number. As soon as you receive the VAT number for the country where you have applied for a VAT registration, this will replace the VAT_applied and your transactions will be reported as normal. So what if I am not yet activated for VAT calculation service and I sell products which are subject to a reduced rate of VAT in some of my VAT services on Amazon subscribed countries? Why are all of my Amazon sales and refunds standard rated? So a product tax code, or a PTC, is an Amazon-defined code that has the correct set of VAT rates across the European Union for a specific product category. Each of your products must be assigned a valid PTC because VAT calculation service and VAT services on Amazon use the PTC to determine the appropriate VAT rate to apply to sales and refunds of your products. As a system default, the standard rate PTC, which is called A_gen_standard, will be set as your seller default PTC for VAT calculation service. If you assign an invalid PTC, for example, a PTC that starts with G_gen, or you update the PTC for your products after the filing preparation window has opened, then the system will automatically default your products to the standard rate PTC in order to calculate the amount of VAT due on the transaction. Your PTC will be invalid if it does not start with A_, and it is not on the list of PTCs available in Seller Central. This will include any products with the PTC G_gen_no tax, or any products where the item SKU or product description has been used to populate the product tax code field. If you have used an invalid PTC, or you have not updated your PTCs in time for the filing preparation window, and the system calculates the amount of VAT due at the standard rate, but you believe that your products should instead be taxed at a reduced rate of VAT, for example, you sell printed books, you will have an opportunity to manually correct the VAT rate and VAT amount for the transaction in the additional VAT report. This is because all of your Amazon sale and Amazon refund transactions for the filing period will be populated into the additional VAT report for your review. So what if I have applied for a VAT number in a country that I will file through VAT services on Amazon, but I have not yet received that VAT number? What should I do with my non-Amazon transactions? VAT calculation service and VAT services on Amazon calculate your VAT liability on the assumption that you have opted in to tax any of your transactions in the destination country of the transaction if you have a VAT number in that country. This overrides the VAT concept of a distance selling threshold, and so any of your transactions to a destination country where you have a VAT number will be taxed in that country as soon as you have received your VAT registration number. As a result, If the destination country of any of your non-Amazon sales or refunds is a country where you have applied for a VAT number but you have not received it yet, then you should hold these transactions and report them once you receive the VAT number. This is because they will need to be taxed in that country. In principle, you should not be taxed twice in two different countries for the same transaction. If you have sold goods from a country where you already have a VAT registration number to a customer located in a country where you are awaiting a VAT number through VAT services on Amazon, and you have previously paid VAT in the departure country for these sales, then you may be required to correct your VAT returns to ensure that you are reporting the VAT in the correct country and are not taxed twice on the same transaction. Now, how do I report my transactions if my VAT registration number has been backdated? In order to report any transactions in the period between when you applied for your VAT registration number and when you received your VAT registration number, you will be required to submit a catch-up return covering this period. The catch-up returns functionality is currently being developed and will be added to VAT services on Amazon within Seller Central in the next few months. This will enable you to self-complete any backdated declarations of taxable transactions or other stock movements during this period. So what is the Calculate VAT Amounts button on the template page? The Calculate VAT Amounts macro button has been added to the template page of the additional VAT report by VAT services on Amazon to help you quickly determine the VAT rate and VAT amount for your non-Amazon sales. If you have any non-Amazon sales that you need to report in your additional VAT report, then you can simply populate the total price of items VAT inclusive field and leave the VAT amount and VAT rate fields blank. So we can see here that column X is the total VAT inclusive price of items field, and columns Q to W are the VAT rate and VAT amounts field, which we are able to leave blank. The Calculate VAT Amount tool will automatically populate these fields based on the transaction details, including your VAT number information. For more details on how this tool calculates the VAT amount, please refer to the default calculation logic page in the additional VAT report. Please also note that this tool should not be used if your products are subject to a reduced rate of VAT in any EU country. So do I need to include any fees charged by Amazon in my additional VAT report? Generally, Amazon will charge fees to the country of your primary business address and primary VAT number. As VAT services on Amazon does not currently support VAT filing in your home country, you should not need to report any invoices received from Amazon in your additional VAT report. If you think that you are receiving invoices from Amazon using a VAT number that you file through VAT services on Amazon, then please contact your tax compliant agent to discuss this. Will all of the transactions that I include in my additional VAT report be used to calculate my VAT filings this month? Now, whether all of the transactions that you include in your additional VAT report will be included on the VAT filings in your VAT services on Amazon subscribed countries will depend on the countries where you are registered for VAT. Some countries, for example, the UK, Spain, and Italy, will generally require you to submit your VAT returns quarterly, which means that 3 months of data will be included when your VAT liability is calculated. Other countries, including France, the Czech Republic, and Poland, will generally require you to submit your VAT returns monthly, so that any transactions that you include in your additional VAT report during a filing preparation window will be used to prepare the VAT filings for these countries for that month. Please also refer to the VAT Services on Amazon help pages in Seller Central for more information on whether your VAT filings are quarterly or monthly. Now, what if I make sales through Amazon's multi-channel fulfillment network? VAT Services on Amazon does not have any information about orders that you fulfill through Amazon's multi-channel fulfillment network that is required for your VAT reporting, and so these transactions cannot be populated into the Amazon VAT transactions report with the rest of your Amazon sales and Amazon refunds. As a result, you will need to include the details of any of your transactions through the multi-channel fulfillment network in your additional VAT report as non-Amazon transactions to ensure that they are included in your VAT filings. So once I have provided all of the information about my Amazon sales and refunds or non-Amazon sales and refunds in the additional VAT report, how do I validate the report? Once you have completed your additional VAT report template, you should navigate to the Add-ins ribbon at the top of the screen and then click on Validate Template to check if there are any issues with the data that you have provided. If there are no errors in the Format Error column, you can then upload your additional VAT report to Seller Central. However, if there are any errors, then these will be highlighted in a red box, and if you hover your mouse over the box, it will tell you how the error can be corrected. You can then click Get Next Error to move to the next box which needs to be corrected, rather than having to search through the template. Once you have addressed these errors, you should click Clear Errors before clicking Validate Template again to confirm that the information is now in the correct format. Please note that if you are trying to copy and paste values but it is not working, you must first click Clear Errors and then retry. More information on how to correct errors can be found in the Transaction Type Help and the Data Definitions pages within the additional VAT report. So why am I seeing a Unicode text error when I try and upload my additional VAT report? How do I save and upload it? The additional VAT report must be saved and uploaded to VAT Services on Amazon in a format known as Unicode text file. Once completed, you can save your additional VAT report as a Unicode text file using this button on the template. Once saved, you should upload your additional VAT report on the View Filings page within VAT Services on Amazon on Seller Central. So how do I exclude or upload transactions in my additional VAT report through Seller Central? If you wish to exclude transactions from your VAT Services on Amazon filings for the current period, or have completed your additional VAT report and want to upload it, this can be done through your Seller Central account before you review your filings, using the Exclude Error Transactions button that you can see on screen. If you are reviewing your filings but wish to go back to the Data Upload screen in order to download and update your additional VAT report, you can do this by clicking on the Provide Monthly Data button at the top of the page, which will take you back to the page where you can review and download your data. But what if I forgot to provide the details of my non-Amazon transactions before the filing preparation window closed? Currently, your VAT filings will be auto-submitted by your tax compliance agent to the relevant tax authorities based on the transactions in your Amazon VAT transactions report and the additional VAT report received in Seller Central. If you think that any of the transactions in your additional VAT report need to be updated, then you will need to correct your VAT filings. The corrective returns functionality is currently being developed and will be added to VAT Services on Amazon within Seller Central in the next few months. This will enable you to self-complete any aspects of your VAT filings which you need to correct. So how can I view my additional VAT reports from previous months? If you would like to view your historic additional VAT reports that you submitted for your past VAT filings, then you should navigate to the Provide Monthly Data page on Seller Central. From here, you can click Past Filings on the right-hand side and select the month for which you would like to review your reports. You should then navigate to the Provide Data page at the top and use the link to download your additional VAT report. Where can I find more information on the completion of my additional VAT report? If you require any additional information or support on how to complete your additional VAT report, the Transaction Type Help and Data Definitions sheets in the additional VAT report contain a very useful overview about how and why you need to provide VAT services on Amazon with certain types of information to complete your VAT filings. If your query is not addressed by these pages in the additional VAT report and you still require assistance, then please refer to the further help pages on Seller Central.